Happy Friday, Applied English. Friday, October 7th. Thank you so much for finding our virtual lesson for today. As I've told you guys in class this week, we're going to keep this video short as we do just a little review of complex sentences like we talked about on Wednesday and Thursday. Once again, it's a virtual day. If you haven't paused this video or said a quick prayer for your learning today, I encourage you to do so just right now. Hit that pause button, say a prayer for yourself for your learning today, and then we can continue the video in just a little bit here. Alright, I hope you had a moment to pause the video, say a quick prayer if you haven't prayed already. Let's continue forward with complex sentences review. Looks like you've already found the video in order for you to be watching it right now. I'd like to remind you that this video should be helpful for finishing your complex sentences homework that you got most recently from me, which is something I'd like to collect on Monday. My plan is to go over a couple of those questions, a couple of those sentences, towards the end of this video. A little reward for watching all the way through. As a reminder, any late or missing work that you're currently working on that you would like to get reflected on this grade report is due by the end of tonight. Again, complex sentences homework, that I'll collect on Monday. It will not be part of our current grade report that I'm working on. Again, I want to send that grade report probably Monday at some point. I might have to wait until Tuesday if I'm still catching up on grading at that point. Going back into today's virtual lesson folder, you'll see complex sentences review video. We're watching it right now. I'm also going to add, or I should say I'm going to move your complex sentences homework from Wednesday, Thursday's block lesson into this folder as well, just once I'm done filming our video. If you do click here, you'll also see that you have access to the same PowerPoint I'm going to be teaching from. I do have it open up in my screen anyway, so I'll get there. Alright, little bit of complex sentences review. Let's talk it through. So a couple of reminders about complex sentences from what we covered last in class. For one, two different types of clauses. An independent clause can stand alone as its own complete sentence. Again, it's independent, it can take care of itself, it's strong, it don't need no man, as we talked about in class. A subordinate clause, or a subordinating clause, or a dependent clause, it's got several names, cannot stand alone by itself. It needs an independent clause in order to survive. As a reminder, subordinating clause still has a subject and a predicate, just like an independent clause does, but it will always begin with a subordinating conjunction, which you do have a list of those in your notes from our last lesson. You can also find them pretty easily online. If you type in subordinating conjunctions, you'll find a lot of charts that list off 20, 30, 40 of them. You should have access to that, even if you forgot your notes at school. One last key point, a sentence that has one or more subordinating clauses and an independent clause is a complex sentence. As a reminder, the way I like to think about that is that complex ends in an X, and the word mix, like to mix a cake batter, ends with an X. A complex sentence is a mix of one independent clause and one dependent clause, a subordinate clause. For examples, we won't be able to work with a partner, but I'll walk through them here as a little review. And we'll also include a couple of sentences from your homework just to get you started for Monday as well. The directions here are a little bit different from our last lesson. It says highlight each subordinating conjunction in yellow, then underline the subordinating clause once. We're just going to work on identifying subordinating conjunctions and clauses here. Sentence number one, when the sky is cloudless, the contrasts are breathtaking. If I were to have a subordinating clauses list out in front of me, it might be easiest, or subordinating conjunctions list, I should say. It would be easiest for me to find just the conjunction first, and then the rest of its clause from there. Within this sentence, the subordinating conjunction is when. A lot of question words, when, whenever, where, wherever, who, whoever, and so on, are subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunction here would be when. Its full clause would be when the sky is cloudless. That has a subject, sky, has a verb, is, but by itself that clause is not a complete sentence, it's dependent. The contrasts are breathtaking is independent. That is a complex sentence. After you drive northeast for a few hours, you arrive in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Our subordinating conjunction there is going to be after. And its entire clause is going to go all the way up until that comma, after you drive northeast for a few hours. One thing I might encourage you to do for 3, 4, 5, and 6 is maybe pause the video quick, just quiz yourself, see if you can do the same process for these 4. I'll go over all of them in just a few seconds here. Alright, so number 3, where the steep-sided rugged mountains rise into the clouds, the landscape is forbidden but beautiful. It's a really long dependent clause, but it starts with where. Where the steep-sided rugged mountains rise into the clouds is your subordinating clause. The landscape is forbidden but beautiful would be an independent clause. Continue driving north until you reach Mount Washington. Until, you'll see on your list, is a subordinating conjunction. The whole clause, until you reach Mount Washington. Again, has a subject you, has a verb reach, but until you reach Mount Washington by itself is not a complete sentence. Evergreens and snowcaps accent the autumn colors wherever you look. There's that where once again. Notice that where and wherever are both subordinating conjunctions. The whole clause would be wherever you look. Number 6, before the trip is over, you'll have memories and pictures to last a lifetime. That clause is going to be before the trip is over, with before being the subordinating conjunction. And last up, I just want to use just a couple of sentences from the Lesson 8 homework as another example, just to make sure we're clear on how this assignment works. Again, this could be something to work on over the weekend as you prep for Monday, if you haven't turned it in yet. Otherwise, the only homework I have for you is to make sure that you are catching up on any work that might be late or missing right now, as I catch up on grading today as well. Taking a look, I think I'm just going to do a handful of these on this assignment. Let's look at maybe number 1 first. Maybe some of my classes looked at this one. The fruit of some trees is hard and dry, but the fruit of other trees is soft and fleshy. These directions are asking us to label it as simple, compound, or complex. This one's going to be simple. This one's going to be compound. It has that comma but, as we mentioned before. But's one of the fanboys conjunctions, one of the only 7 words we can use to make compound sentences. This one is certainly compound. Let's see if we can find a good simple sentence. Number 5, the wood of soft maples is good for small wooden articles. This one's simple. It might be tempting to label this one as compound because of 4, but it's not, comma 4. One way to know that number 5 is simple is to notice that it has one subject, wood. Maples cannot be the subject. It's part of a prepositional phrase, of soft maples. It only has one verb, is, in this sentence as well. If you only have one subject or one verb, you only have one clause, which means that your sentence is either not complete or it's a simple sentence. Look at 10 as well. The maples sport brilliant reds and oranges, whereas the Rocky Mountain sides are a deep violet and gray. This one's going to be complex. If you're using your subordinating conjunctions list, you'll see that whereas is one of the subordinating conjunctions. This one has one dependent clause, starting with whereas. One independent clause, the maples sport brilliant reds and oranges. This one's complex. Part 2, we'll just look at the first one. It's the same direction as what we just saw on our example PowerPoint a moment ago. In each sentence, which are complex sentences, circle the subordinating conjunction, underline the rest of the clause. In number 1, some people enjoy a city where life is constantly busy. We might identify that where is a subordinating conjunction. We'll draw a circle around it. I can't do that right at this moment. And then we're going to underline the rest of its clause. That would be where life is constantly busy. Do those same things for the rest of this document. I've already gone a little bit long in this video, so I apologize for that. But I hope this is helpful for you as you prepare for Monday. Once again, please also complete any work that may be labeled as missing or late at this point. I would like to send grade reports on Monday too. Peace.